I'm Sam Gillespie.
I'm Andrew Saul.
And you're into games, right?
Games? I'm just not really into.
Hello and welcome to I'm Just Not That Into Games, a podcast where we discuss games from a very superficial level.
Well, it's a better explanation is where you take someone who's really into games and knows a lot about games, and they get someone who doesn't know anything about games and really isn't into them to play a game.
And judge it on a superficial level, that's what I said.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I'm superficial.
Yeah.
Continue on.
Yeah. Now that we got the hurtful comments out of the way, we'll move on to the game of this episode, Hotline Miami.
Comments are gone, but not forgotten.
Do you know anything about Hotline Miami, firstly?
The game Hello Miami?
Hotline Miami.
Hotline Miami.
Hotline Miami. I probably should have. Hotline Miami.
So as in call the hotline on
to Miami.
As in like 1-900 hotline.
Yes, that's the one. That's the exact hotline.
Okay, so Hotline Miami.
Have you heard of it?
I've never heard of it, but I like where it's going.
Like the name of it.
Yeah, it feels like this.
What do you think it is?
Well, sex.
Oh,
it's about strippers.
It's about strippers and sex.
Yeah, it's about having sex as like via a hotline.
As much as I wish I could tell you yes, the answer isn't. All right. Hotline Miami is a fast-paced 2D action game with a retro-style theme applied to it. I'm not saying that it looks like an old-school game, rather that it more looks like an 80s-style cheesy music video combined with an old-school retro game. The goal of each level is to simply kill everyone. It's just a brutal, bloodfest, simple affair. There's a story to explain the reasoning, but you know, it's not very good. I'm not going to defend that story. It's pretty mediocre. But the gameplay is what makes this game special. You have a top-down view, you have a guy, and you can see where he is and where everyone else is. And if you attack someone, they immediately die. If they hit you, you immediately die. It's a fair battleground, but it's intense. If you get shot, you die. If you get hit, you die. So you need to make sure that your position is in the right area while you're also timing everything to attack. It's a fast-paced action game where you need to be aware of your surroundings. And you can see very clearly from everything, and you need to plan out exactly how you're going to approach it. If you make too much noise, everyone will suddenly come rushing towards you, and you typically can't take on a big crowd of enemies because they'll just overwhelm you, because all it takes is a stray bullet to get you. So you basically need to move through, take everyone out as quickly as possible, and get to the end of the level. It's incredibly difficult, but it creates a sense of flow where you just get straight into it. You keep going, you die, you respawn fast, you get straight back into it. I'm recommending this game to you because I realize that every game I've given you so far has been kind of a slow-paced or a more thoughtful affair, so I figured I'd jump straight into the other end and get something that's more balls-to-the-wall action. So check it out.
So firstly, I'm intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
This does sound like something that possibly I might not be into, but then again, it's a game, so there's a good chance I won't be into it.
Good odds.
But whilst I may not have played games or be really that into them, I have watched other people play games over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And the game that sprung to mind when you talked about this was GTA's Vice City.
Yes.
So I immediately thought of that because I watched one of my mates play just a lot of Vice City. And I found Vice City did the 80s vibe really well with the radio stations and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So I'll be very, very interested to see how the aesthetic of this game feels.
Mm-hmm.
Because the games I've most liked so far was the ones that got the aesthetic really right.
Mm-hmm.
And even though, you know, I didn't like Portal that much,
it nailed the aesthetic.
The aesthetic was nailed so well.
Mm-hmm. I think that from the game's perspective, like the story for it isn't very good, and like it doesn't necessarily hit the aesthetic very well because it does have a top-down view, and it's sort of like got that feel around everywhere and all the like menus and all the screens and all the dialogue systems, and it does sort of feel like you're in that style, but doesn't really come across very heavily in the gameplay. The gameplay is mainly focused on that action loop, and it's got that sort of 80s feel in the background, and a very strong sort of I guess it's like trance music that goes in the background, like 80s style, but not. It's very modern, but it's like got that sort of style to it that gets you involved in that game. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what you think about this one.
Looking forward to it.
right, so now that you've played Hotline Miami, what'd you think?
I was done with it after 2 hours. Like, done. Done. Like, didn't want to go back.
Right. And what was it that made you done with it then?
The controls, the controlling of the game, the playing of the game it's just terrible. It's just 2016. Like, I realize the game was made a couple of years back, right?
Wow.
But we are in the 2000s, right? We're not in 1970, 1980. You know, keyboard, like, moving in 4 directions. Shit, man, honestly.
So what you're saying is you should have played it with a controller?
Yeah, I think... Yeah.
So what you're saying is it's all your fault?
It's not my fault, is it? Like, it's totally not my fault. Because in that tutorial, and I will stand by this, in that tutorial, it told me to use the W, S, the A keys to move one direction and the next direction. And the graphics, you know, great, good for you. Go hard. Go hard, game designers, with your retro graphics. You know, well done. And they weren't so bad, and the cutscenes weren't so bad to start with, but when the graphics get in the way of you playing the actual game, when you are caught on things that you didn't see, or you move somewhere and something comes out and it doesn't actually match with the graphics, yeah, it sucks. You know what I mean?
So you're saying that you're getting stuck on the objects inside the level?
Yeah, like the graphics would impede me being able to play the game properly.
Right. And what can you go into a bit more detail about that?
So you're moving around a level. So I got up to chapter 4, right? Mm-hmm. In my 2 hours with the game. And you'd be moving through something, and you think, oh well, I'm out of line of sight, and then you get killed because you were in line of sight. But then around the next corner, you'd be like, oh, I'm in line of sight because based on what happened, like in literally meters literally pixels away in the game.
Yep.
On that corner. Oh no, it's different here because I've just forgotten to draw this properly. You know, and it's just little things in a game which is down to such fine margins. Mm-hmm. To have the graphics start, in some cases, not in all cases, but in some cases, start to impede the way you're playing, it just seems to be like it's a real fuck you to the player. Like, it's like the designer hates the player.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of moments in the game where some of the walls are windows and you kind of miss that, and there's a couple of graphical things that get you and sort of trick you.
Trick you. Yeah, it feels like it's like, oh no, you didn't die because you're bad at the game. You died because the game's bad.
I think, firstly, with the game, whenever you die, you get to immediately know what killed you. So even if you do get tricked, it's very quick to get back into the game, get back to where you were, and then you won't fall for it the next time. So are we getting to the bit where there's this crazy retry loop? Because look, before we get onto that, let me just say this: I loved the violence. Yeah,
I loved how crazily violent it was. So I'm a big fan of American Psycho. I loved that movie. I loved Scarface, which isn't as violent, but you know, it's the same sort of thing. And I just love the violence. This is really properly violent, and violent without too much explanation either. Like, he's a hitman. He kills people really badly. That's it.
That's his jam.
Yeah, that's his jam. I mean, the storyline. Let's face it. It's like I wasn't going to stay around to find out, but I knew what was coming. It's these masks are different sides of my personality, and I'm talking to myself in a room, and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and the lines between reality and my mind are blurring. Like, you know, it's a trope, right?
Oh yeah, it's leaning heavily on the trope to just get it across the line.
Yeah, but it's not particularly well done. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, you know, there's a romantic comedy's a trope, but there's well done ones, and then there's just shit. Right. And this was a bit shit in this instance.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I am never going to defend the story for this game. It's pretty terrible, and the second one was even worse. So,
but okay, so one hit, one kill though. I did actually like that.
Yeah.
I did actually like it. And you know what? Another thing I liked about this game, holy shit, it was so good to play a game where I wasn't like the games you've made me play, right? Like Bastion, where I'm fucking walking around kicking cactuses my entire life, trying to get coins and crap and backtracking and walking places just to do a thing. There was none of that in this game.
Yep.
It is all killer, no filler. Mm-hmm. Like, and there is something really interesting going on with this game. Like, I said I was done after 2 hours, and it's true. I was done with this game, which sort of pissed me off even more because I have never failed that much in a game, or pretty much anything, I think, and felt so decent about myself.
Yeah, it's this wonderful thing where every time you die, you don't get angry.
No, you don't. And I kept thinking to myself, as I was playing it, I kept thinking of Khan Academy.
Yep.
Khan Academy and code learning apps, because of course Pablo and his Zenver Academy. And I kept thinking of those kind of apps and thinking to myself, this is exactly what they're trying to do. All these educational apps are trying to do is trying to get people to fail, but to try a different strategy and then succeed, to learn, but not get too pissed off with the fact that, if you're going to try something that you don't know already, it's going to be hard.
Yep.
And, I only did 4 levels in this game. And, in that amount of time, I could have done, 15, 20 in something that had a much more gradual entry curve. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like I said, like I felt myself, like my finger would just flick across that R key. And I would just go back. I'd go back in and I'd go, well, I died this time, but I'll try something else. And I'd try something else. I'd get a bit further.
Yeah.
And I'd try something else. And they threw in just enough randomness as well, most times, so that it wasn't a case of, like, you think of something like cut the rope or like, something where it's like you have to time everything right. You're like, well, get this timed here and that timed there and this timed here, and it's all the same. There's enough randomness in the fact that there was a few different ways to skin a cat. There was a few different ways to do the level, but it was generally one way.
Yep.
And you had to learn that way. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. Like, I just don't know why they've wrapped this really, really clever thing they've done in such a shitty package.
Yeah. I am like you, that I really wish the game was a lot better, because the thing that it really taught me in terms of game design was that, dying in a game is already punishing. Whatever game it is, you don't have to make a big song and dance of it. Whenever you lose or you die, that's part of the game. People get that. But every second that you're spending not letting the player get back into that game is a second that they're resenting you, or it's a second where they're wondering whether or not they want to go around for another game. Whereas Hotline Miami, they never give you a chance to stop and think, hey, maybe I should stop playing this game, because you're constantly in a couple of states. Either you're playing the level, dying, getting back in, going again, going in this like loop where you were just constantly dying and retrying and never really feeling frustrated to the point that a lot of other games would take you. And then once you finish that, you feel really good, right? Because you got through that really difficult level that you're like, you struggled 100 times and then you finally got it done. So when you got out there to the other end, you're like, wow, this is really good. I want to do that again. So I actually remember that when I first played this game, like, it was like really addictive to me. And I actually just grinded it all out for about 8 hours straight, just bam, and then was done with it. And I lost an entire day to playing it. And it was like phenomenal for that. Even though the story was terrible, it wasn't even very good. And there was actually some points where the story actually hindered the gameplay in the later parts, and it really sort of, the shine came off at that point. But it was still an excellent game, and I really enjoyed the flow and sense that it gave.
Look, and it's that there's plenty of games which have that try, retry. Like think of something like Candy Crush, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a game where it's a random drop, right? Yeah. So you just got to keep retrying, hoping for a random drop, knowing that there's a certain level of skill needed, but that taps out pretty quickly. Then you're waiting for the random drop. I kept feeling, and I didn't play 8 hours straight like you did, because, you are...
Oh, I'm absolutely into it. Yeah, I'm a little bit more into games.
Yeah, no, a little bit more into games. Yeah, no. But unlike saying that's random, like, the enemy still moved in the same way. There were the same dimensions, the rough dimensions of each level. They just did not switch it up too much, so that I was like... like, you know, like I was just getting past the first room going, oh, well, this one's stuffed because I need to wait till this guy is walking in a clockwise direction. And he's walking in an anti-clockwise direction, so stuff it. I'll just die and just go back. And that becomes frustrating. That becomes a grind because then all you're doing is just, am I going to do this 2 more times? I'm going to do it 20 more times. I've got to wait for the randomness. Whereas in like, it's always going to be the same. I need to find my way through this. And it just never let me get frustrated with that whole. I mean, the thing that frustrated me was the mechanics. Like the mechanics of moving around just became so frustrating. The graphics became so grating that I was like, I'm done. I love the music though. I adored the music. I mean, just like I haven't seen music match so well in a game since Sonic the Hedgehog Chemical Zone or Papers, Please.
Yeah.
And Papers, Please had just the simplest, shittiest little soundtrack that was just perfect.
Yeah,
like it was
either that one song or that like dead silence.
I know, and this was the same way. Like it got me amped up. It got me amped up when I was in the level, and I just knew that blood and violence was coming around the corner.
And it definitely had this sense of looping in on itself and in and out that you didn't really feel like the song ever stopped or started or got more intense or less intense. So it just helped reinforce that sense of flow of keep going again and again and again.
Yeah, keep going. It's like someone was on your shoulder. Come on, man, just keep going. Keep going.
I think the one thing that I really enjoyed about it, though, was that when you get that perfect run and you're like, wow, I kicked in the door, I knocked that guy out, I picked up the baseball bat, I walked out, I hit the other guy, I waited for the dog, I hit the dog, and then you just like, you get that like perfect a sequence of everything that you feel like you're this like Hollywood style, hitman that just knows how to do everything perfectly. And it's kind of that interesting idea, right? Like that you can force a player to be that awesome badass without having to pause the game or slow it down or do cutscenes. It's just, no, you just get that good.
Yeah, and it's not too exact, so you don't feel like you're playing a piece of music where it's like, oh, I hit a bum note, start again.
Yeah.
Because there is definitely a set of notes you have to hit, and if you don't hit them exactly, then start again, kid. It's like you're in that flow, and you can still get through, but you just got to go. There's a little bit of wiggle room, but yeah.
And then you got to sort of like improvise and go, well, I didn't get that perfect off this time, so I'll try and go this way. Or you'll think, okay, this isn't working, so I'll try a different direction and go somewhere else. Yeah. Hotline Miami 2 was a game that I didn't think quite hit the same notes. I mean, it still had a terrible plot and it was still the sort of same core gameplay, but a lot of their level design really let them down inside the game because they had a lot more open, larger areas. So it meant that you didn't have the ability to sort of sneak around corners and position yourself in smarter ways. So it felt more like you were rolling the dice that hopefully they'd miss you when they shoot you and then chase after you. And yeah, it's definitely an interesting case whereby the game is built primarily on those levels of just being those tight little corridors and tight little situations and that scripted behavior. And every one of those little changes that happens inside that game can have a completely different flow effect on the gameplay.
Yeah, it's one of those things like we as humans, like we like newness and we like randomness, but we don't like too much of it. Like we like to feel safe. I think, well, this is what I think. We like to feel safe with our randomness. And that's what I sort of, too much randomness. Like, I want to still feel like I know the world. You can change the things in front of me, but I want to still feel like, like don't reverse the fire keys on me. Like, because that's random. Like, don't do that. It'll just piss me off. It'll make me scared and afraid.
Yeah,
right?
I think humans like to act on randomness rather than be acted upon.
Yeah. No, definitely. No, definitely. And the Hotline Miami in many ways was just hitting that sweet spots where it was like enough randomness but enough familiarity, so it didn't get boring. It's just like, for me, if you put a better control scheme and you put better suited graphics, even though the violence would have probably turned me off had the graphics been any more realistic.
Yep.
And I really, like I said, I really enjoyed the ultra violence of it. But wow, it was ultra. Like, just ultra violent.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Yeah. There you go. So, yeah, unfortunately, yet another miss. But this time, but no.
We're getting closer.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm old. I mean, these things are for the kids of the world.
So, would you say Hotline Miami is your favorite game so far out of all of these?
No, Papers, Please is still my favorite
Still
game.
your favorite? All right.
But
we'll see if we can-
Hotline Miami came up and it just, like you're just little fella and you open it up and you're like, I know what you're all about. And then it's like, no, you don't. I've got something new. And the new thing was okay. But then there was like, still was pretty much whatever you thought it was as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So pretty much a summary of that is Papers, Please is still my favorite so far.
Right.
Okay.
So next week we'll be checking out Faster Than Light.
Faster Than Light.
Faster Than Light. It's pretty fast.
Can you give me a quick synopsis?
I guess you'll have to wait till next time.
Ruben Attrip would like you to know that he personally produced this podcast. Maybe, if you're looking for something else to chuck in your ears, try G-Money.
Yeah. New money. First to third, third to fifth. I'm running late for another shift. The roads are greasy, so I start to drift. No aid in the back for giving honeys lifts. I roll down the window, flick the last of my spliff. Sick of 60 saying that this life is a gift. Get off the ice, cunt, and get on this dick. Cause I'm just like Cursor, but I'm more of a sick cunt. I'm just like Cursor, but I'm more of a sick cunt. I'm just like Cursor, but I'm more of a sick cunt. Bash cunts verbally, get high herbally. Trying to save up for penis reduction surgery. I'll turn to burglary, cause it occurred to me that no one's heard of me and I'm still trying to sell burnt CDs. They get thrown back at me when I'm on stage, but I'm too blazed to be phased. I'm a piss taker, dream raper. Catch me chillin', a little draper. Get on the grind, get paid, go home, get blazed, get drunk, get laid, pass out in a daze. Same old G, yeah, you know me. Giving him the D like it comes for free. I'm back with new rap, so cool, ya jats. I'm pumping out tracks like sperm out of my nutsack. So chill that I'm freezing for no reason. Pop that pill, girl, no children be conceiving. But if you're ever thirsty, babe, let me fucking buzz ya. Saved your number in my phone as the cum guzzler. So where the platypussies at, I'm BB King. You be my guitar, I'll pluck on your G-string. I wanna lick you like a cat lap that milk. I wanna feel you like my dick on some silk. You be the clock, I'll be the thing that makes you tick. I'll be the cock, you be the thing that takes the dick. No need for condoms on my USB stick. Got an antivirus program so I never get sick. Come on, get on the grind, get paid, go home, get blazed, get drunk, get laid, pass out in a daze. Haha. Shout out to Middlemount. My mind may be dirty, but my teeth are clean. And you know that it's a party when I step on the scene. I run with royalty, the KOP. The king of the plebs, his name is Dino. And he know we going straight to the top. Just like Keno, bitch, we never stop. So pick out some numbers, stick that card in the slot. And when you win some money, spend it all on pot. On picture paper, it's your boy, the baby raper. The filth top savior, from Brendel to Napier. Still fucking cats and spitting gats. Splat, blat, making hits like I'm Davey Warner's bat. I'm so offensive I can't play a venue twice. I'm so contagious that I'm giving bitches pubic lice. Not nice, cold as ice, so name your price. A can of Coke, 2 curries, a naan and some rice, bitch. Get on the grind, get paid, go home, get blazed, get drunk, get laid, pass out in a daze. Get on the grind, get paid, go home, get blazed, get drunk, get laid, pass out in a daze. Yeah, G-money.